Good morning, everyone. It's Stephen Whiteside here from theuptrend.com with your morning market outlook for Tuesday, June 30th, 2026. This is the last day of the month, last day of the quarter, and we probably saw some end of quarter window dressing yesterday because so far this morning things are fairly quiet. Now, tomorrow is Canada Day, so the Canadian markets will be closed. On Friday, the U.S. is going to be celebrating July 4th. So this is a 4-day week on both sides of the border, which means that volume is going to start trailing off over the next couple of days. There shouldn't be a lot of excitement. Hopefully, there's still a bullish bias to the market. In the pre-market this morning, things are fairly quiet. It's the Nasdaq leading the market higher once again, but not by much. And then we've got commodities all up this morning. Again, not by much. We don't expect a lot to happen at the open. There's no major economic numbers coming out this morning. There is consumer confidence coming out later in the morning. Now, in our world, the best performing sector yesterday was cybersecurity. What didn't work yesterday was Canadian telecom stocks. They were down on the day. Now, after the cybersecurity, we had semiconductors, which had a nice big update. Not enough to give us a buy signal. That could certainly change on Tuesday. And then, of course, with the semiconductors are within the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ was up nicely. Again, we could see a buy signal on Tuesday, but we are coming into Tuesday on a sell signal. Now, the materials did not do well yesterday, and of course, within the materials, you've got metals and mining, and then within metals and mining, you've got the gold miners, and they were down on the day yesterday, and so were the silver miners, and so that put downward pressure on the Canadian market. Not enough to give us a sell signal for the TSX 60, not enough to drive down the Vanguard Canada ETF. It was down just over 1/3% on the day, so no big move there. Looking at the TSX most actives from yesterday's trading action, Canadian Natural Resources is stalled here, trying to hang on to the 56.25 level. If we keep going lower from here, $50 is our next target, and it certainly doesn't look like the pros want to take control on Tuesday. Then BlackBerry continued to move higher, and yesterday we talked about if we continue to move higher above the current projected trading range on the daily chart, 1719 was the next target. So if you take 1563, subtract 1406, and then add that to 1563, that gets you 1719. So that was our target from last weekend's weekly chart. And we actually traded through that yesterday. So if we look here, 2031 is our next major target on the weekly chart. Split the difference between 1719 and 2031 is also a legitimate target. And then, of course, $20 is a big round number for BlackBerry. No joy for TELUS making a new low for this move, and we may be heading towards 1484. Then looking at TC Energy, we're still on a buy signal here. Things would change on Tuesday with a close below $96.44. No major move for Manulife. If we see a sell signal on Tuesday, that would happen with a close below $56.44. No joy for ARC, and ARC, of course, is a takeover target. If I owned ARC, I would have sold on the very first day that it popped. I don't find that there's a mathematical advantage to holding on for any length of time, unless you're waiting for a dividend, of course. But there's a greater chance that some government agency could come along and put a halt to something like this. And so you don't want to be that person that gets to see the big pop and then gets to see the big drop. Anytime there's a takeover offer on the table, I would sell on the first day and just walk away and forget that I ever owned the stock. Looking at Suncor, no change there. No change for B2 Gold. We made a new low yesterday. We're trying to hold on to 547. Of course, $5 is a nice round number on the way to 469. And then looking at Bank of Nova Scotia, we're trying to break out above 125, so no change there. No change for Baytech. Baytech, another stock holding on to 547. And again, $5 is a nice big round number. Some people are talking about the head and shoulders pattern here. So there's a head, left shoulder, right shoulder. There is 2 lines down. So go another 2 lines down. That would be a legitimate target to the downside if we start breaking down below 547. Looking at the U.S. market, ConAgra was the most actively traded stock yesterday in our world, and it is still on a buy signal here. No change. No change for NVIDIA. NVIDIA closing again below $200. We're trying to hold 187.50. If that breaks, 175 would be our next target. Big move yesterday for Comcast. It ended up being a bearish reversal day. We actually closed lower than we opened, and so really nothing going on here. And if you look at the pros and the public, the pros did not gain any footing yesterday. I remember we opened higher, which was the only time the public actually has any influence on the price of a stock. And then we closed lower than that at the end of the day. So the pros were not bidding the stock up going into the close, and that is a bearish sign. So bearish reversal day, probably the top of this move for Comcast. American Airlines still on a buy signal here, no change. Intel traded through the lower channel line but did not close below it. We would need a close on Tuesday below $123.23 to give us a sell signal. No joy for Nokia, still on a sell signal here, making a new low for this move, trying to hold 1250. If that breaks, 1094 is our next target, and there's another head and shoulders chart pattern, and that would take us down to 938. Looking at Supermicro, still on a sell signal here, still holding 28.13. If that breaks, $25 is our next target to the downside. No joy for AT&T. This stock's been broken for a while. Everything was normal until we took out this low here, and then we were never able to recover. It's been a series of lower highs and lower lows for the past couple of months, and you see this big skid mark across the bottom of the screen, which is a big warning that things are broken. So here we are, and you can see the pros. The pros gave up control back here, and they have not taken control since. If you want to go long AT&T, I would wait for the pros to come back and start to take control. SpaceX, no joy there. It was up over 7% yesterday, which you can really see on the chart. So nothing going on there. Then we've got Amazon. Amazon traded up through the upper channel line yesterday, did not close above it. So still looking for a close above $242.31 on Tuesday. And you can see that we started off down at 234.38, ran up to the 250 level, and we got as high as 249.71 before pulling back. So there's obviously some sellers up there at 250. Then looking at Apple, no joy, still on a sell signal, while Tesla plowed through the upper channel line and closed above it. So that's back on a buy signal. 437.50 is our next target to the upside. Notice that we made a high here in early May. And if I can get my cursor, there's the high I'm referring to right there. And then we made a lower high. And of course, we made a low there, and then a lower low, and then a lower high. And we'll have to see if that pattern starts to change, because we recently made a lower low. Then looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum were both up yesterday, but nobody really would notice. You can see the pros look like they're starting to come back, and so I would certainly take a buy signal here. I'd have to get rid of my bear ETF first and then go long a bull ETF, but I am not going to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum directly. I'm going to use one of the major ETFs. Last up, looking at the VIX. The VIX traded down to the lower channel line yesterday. We need a close on Tuesday below 1739. Both the VIX ETFs in New York and Toronto are still on a sell signal. No change in trend there. Okay, folks, that is all for this morning's presentation. Tomorrow's Canada Day. I'm going to take the day off. We'll be back on Thursday morning with a video, and then, of course, we'll be closed on Friday. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Next time you'll hear my voice is on Thursday morning.
Thanks for tuning in until the very end of today's stock market timing educational video. If you found the content valuable, don't forget to express your support by hitting the like button, leave a comment, sharing with your friends, and subscribing to our channel for more insightful updates. Remember, in the world of stocks, timing is crucial, and following the trend can be your greatest ally. If you would like more information on how we can help you better time the stock market, please visit theuptrend.com.